call the meeting to order. With the agenda approval.
I'll make that motion.
Wait a minute, let me back up.
Okay.
Is there any additions or takeaways from the agenda before I say that?
Ralph, I got a question on our old business, the stamp approval stuff, is that in conjunction with paying the, is that including the fees and we talked about the interlocal agreement and that, is that included in that or do we need to add that?
So number 6, we're talking about, Chris, the question is whether the stamp approval is included in the money for the recycle taken away. And
Yeah, because I don't know at this point who all we're going to be able to bill that way or not. Yeah.
So if that's included, I don't need to add anything, I just want to make sure. that we
Yeah.
have
so number 6 is included also, so we'll move forward to anybody else having any additions to the agenda. With that said, and no one coming forward, so I'll entertain a motion to approve this agenda.
Okay, I'll do that.
Okay,
I'll
thank you.
second.
All right, Gary and Rebecca. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Any noes? Ayes have it. How many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6-0. Okay, approval of minutes from the November 16th meeting. After you take a second or what's told to read up the old minutes, and anybody's got any corrections or objections to the minutes, speak now or we'll move on. Looking for corrections? Everybody's name spelt right? Way to go, Hannah.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as written.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor from Randy Cole to approve the minutes, the old minutes. I need a second.
I'll second.
Rebecca, second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any noes? Ayes have it, 6-0. Moving on, approval of financial statements.
November financials are on there. The holdings really trending above budget this year right now for tipping fees. That's been, since about midway through the year, we found that was the case. So that's really the only outlier. Everything else is really consistent with what we anticipated. The one other item to address that we talked about in the previous meeting was setting up the new fund with the state to get the better investment rates. It's a liquid fund, so no risk still. Higher interest rates on that, so that is in motion. Really, the only thing I need from you all is approval to close out the Fifth Third accounts and move those funds over there. So my proposal is the Fifth Third CD. You go to your cash balances. My proposal will be the Fifth Third CD, the Jordan American Capital Expenditures account, and the Fifth Third operating account. Start with those, and then we can decide if we want to move any of the GAB operations or not. We're kind of in a lull right now. We've got a few months before we start seeing our big increase in the fees start to roll back in. So I don't really want to move too much of that money around yet.
Where are you moving it to, Wes?
State of Indiana. So the
Bond Bank.
Trust Indiana account.
Indiana Bond Bank?
No, Trust Indiana. So it's still reports to the state of Indiana, but they've got a little bit better rates.
Okay.
It's an arm of the bond bank,
Right.
Okay.
That's what I was thinking.
one lends, the other provides these others.
Okay, we'll need a motion to move that.
She said technically we don't have to because they report to the state, but I would prefer to have a
Yeah.
to move that.
So we're looking for I entertain a motion to move that money to Indiana Bond Bank, which is,
I'll make that motion, Ralph.
okay, thank you. Gary,
And Wes, I think that you can get these accounts, once you get it set up, where you can transfer them electronically and just hook all of them up. Because I know we did it here at the county, They vary on what they're offering, so if you've got them all kind of hooked where they can interchange, then you can affordably move it around easy, because it'll vary.
And they don't charge any fees for transfers, which is nice.
Yeah.
So we'll link our normal operating account and then we'll be able to move funds around.
And then I think you're probably a day or two in retrieving your funds. It's relatively quick.
Yep.
So,
So very low risk. Again, no, like Randy said, easy to move funds back and forth, no fees and low risk. Because it's a liquid account.
Okay, so we have a first, a motion, and now need a second for that remove that money.
I'll make a second.
Rebecca, second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any noes? Ayes have it, 6-0.
and Wes, I've got a question for you on the Journal of America. Looks like you lost $50,000. Which paid for it?
Last month was early month on claims, so this is just the claims. We had no income coming in this month,
Oh, okay.
so it's just normal
So I
claims.
just paid your bills.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. Is that it?
You need a motion on the approval of the finances, right?
I'm waiting on, is that all the financial reports? Okay, so next motion I'll need was be entertain a motion to accept the financial statements.
I'll make that motion.
Okay. Randy Cleveland made the motion. And I need a second.
I'll second it.
Okay,
Don't get confused.
Randy Cole, second.
Yeah, so,
Okay, Randy and Randy. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any noes? Ayes have it, 6-0 passed. Next is on the agenda is the director's report. Chris, that's you.
Good afternoon. Hope everyone had a great Christmas. As far as our commodities, we had, cardboard went out twice since our meeting. And it's up to 75 a ton now, which is going up in a good direction. So you'll see on our sheet, I highlighted, it's all on one sheet this time, and I highlighted at the top of the green. So we got almost $3,000 between the two shipments. One was at $70 a ton and one was at 75. And at plastic, we got a load out and that was at $70. So we got over 1,200. And you'll see, and then we also had a metal came in and we had a couple checks for that. That included what came in late November, because we had our meeting earlier in November. So what we got in December and November, which was from all kinds of scrap, and that was a little over $2,400. So that was good. That was between our metal trailer and our tin cans. And so that income was a little over $6,600. So that's good. Other than that, we haven't had too much going on, just working.
Question I would have for you is this, on your annual commitment to payees, are you on target as what you were about last year as far as collections?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You mean our general, what we generally,
Yeah, normal people that haven't paid yet and still have to take them to court and all
Are you
that.
still chasing them through the court
yeah, I
system?
mean, right now we've got people who have paid and then they set it up where the people come in to check back in if they haven't paid like they're supposed to.
Is that common about like what it was last year, year before and all that? So
Yeah.
about on target there.
Yeah, and we have people that set it up to pay it with their taxes, when, so they're more in trouble with the court side of it than us, because at a certain point, they get a bench warrant for an attachment, sadly. But, yeah, we're doing good. We've had people paying. We've had several checks coming in from the clerk's office. The staff them a pretty good amount.
I assume that will be carried on regardless of the outcome of the next year's payments,
Yes.
that we'll be collecting that.
Yes, sir.
That would be for 2023.
Yeah, 2024 is what, in 2024, you'll still be collecting 2023s.
I feel that the way it's set up and people paying, is, rules are rules, guidelines are guidelines.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
How about oil? Have you took off any oil?
We had that one that went out.
Mhm.
We haven't gotten the check yet.
Okay.
Other than that, no, but we got a pretty good amount. Both Branchville was quite full,
Okay.
so haven't had any problems there. We had some work done just in the last week out at Branchville on the switches out there on the compactor. Louis Holman came out and worked on that. So that was 2 days. What we did was, we're not gonna let anything stop us. We just started loading the bags onto a trailer and took them to Hamilton and bobcat them for the garbage to be taken. Because we're not gonna close because we can't take some garbage. So we improvised, put the garbage into trailer and hauled it down to Hamilton.
You actually had more people at the Branchville site than you did the Canton site.
Mhm.
Kind of always that way, isn't it?
Yeah, they're very busy. So,
So Chris, I have a question on your cardboard.
Mhm.
I'm assuming you bring it in, you bale it, and then do you have to store it inside or can it be stored outside?
We store it outside,
And that's not a problem to sell it then later, okay?
yeah.
So I was a little concerned. It looks to me like there's a big variance on what you're getting paid. So if
That's
we
just the stock market, Mr. Hall.
can- Yeah, but if we can hold on to it, find a little more opportune time, then you can actually get substantially more revenue.
Oh, yeah,
As long as you have the facilities. to store
that
it.
was
The
what I was
storage.
gonna say. If we had storage, some companies, it used to be it could not get wet. It can get wet, but you also,
Mhm.
being colder out, it's not gonna dry out like it would in the summer.
Right.
So if there was a building to store things, if we had that, we could, and we could store to hold, to get a better price, because now, I'm happy that it's at $75.
So you get docked if it's wet.
No, we don't get docked, it's just, you have certain people you can sell it to. And if we had it dry, because it used to be that they didn't want it wet, now they're okay with it, but it's not gonna be prime, but that's okay. Some companies are okay with that, it can be wet, like it used to be until, say, or whatever you say, you didn't want anything, you didn't want it wet, now you can get it wet. It's okay, it's acceptable.
But you just get less money for it.
At
No,
times,
well,
you
all
don't
depends.
get,
Like you'll buy wet and Rebecca won't.
Okay.
right,
They want to sell to Rebecca or whoever,
Right.
right?
right, some buyers want premium. But what the market is, you're just trying to get it sold, so you might hold out for 80, but there really isn't anyone buying it right now because we were getting hardly anything. I'm ecstatic that it's 75 a load right now at a ton, so we can get it. Now, if we had places to store it and we could wait it out, but the market was so low, we were doing $30, $40 4 months ago, 5 months ago.
Mhm.
Or maybe 6, I'll be fair, 6, 8 months ago. It's coming back, but part of the problem is storage. And when people put it out, we have rain randomly. We just can't be one of those people that have prime all the time because of our situation.
Mhm.
It would be someone who, that you got people paying top dollar, but believe me, they're very, very, very picky.
Do you call them or do they on a schedule to come there?
The way that we do it is we have it set up on Wednesdays because that's the best day it works for us.
Okay.
And I call and let them know we have a load. They know
Okay.
on Wednesdays. And usually if Leroy calls me on Tuesday and says, I'm ready for a load, cardboard, I email them within 24 hours or less. I have an answer or Hannah, we email them and
Mhm.
Quincy sets us up. Wednesday just works because of the facility. We try and do it on an off week when Tell City's not running. That's the other thing, they know that. With Quincy, they work with us for those reasons.
So they haul it in a cargo van versus a flatbed,
No, it's a semi.
semi-flatbed or a cargo?
It's
covered,
closed.
Cargo.
It's
Covered.
closed.
Okay, so it's enclosed and that means then it goes straight to the waste scales, recycle.
I don't know if Quincy takes it right to their plant or if they take it to wherever their buyer is. It depends on how they have brokered it. That is their decision.
Okay.
It all goes to the paper mills. Corrugated paper. Yeah, that's how they get the recycled corrugated.
One option, we could look at buying some used semi-trailers and having the wheels removed off them. And you could take your forklifts and actually just compact them. And you can typically pick up a used semi-trailer for $1,000 or maybe a little more or less, plus or minus, depending on the condition. But I don't know if you have room to put those up there
We do
anywhere.
have a spot that we could, where we were holding the newspaper. I would like to look into whether we want to keep doing newspaper or just like, because it takes a long time to get a whole center. Realizing that when we sent that, it was like, is this really worth holding the newspaper? Because it took so long because people do not use newspapers often.
Mhm.
Or is there something else we could do with newspaper?
Yeah.
That's only 8.5 pound paper too, so.
Yeah,
Does the buyer have extra trailers they can place there for us to load it and them just come and get it?
and not on newspaper, because that sat for a really long
I'm
time.
talking about cardboard.
I don't know, I've not had that conversation. Usually not, because they usually broker out. They do have some of their own trailers, but they usually, in that situation, they're brokered out. And usually people do not want to have their trailers sit, and they want to run in and making money. A
Yeah.
trailer that's sitting, coming from logistics, the trailer that's sitting is not making them money. They're not going to want to,
Well, it's a liability on them too.
yeah,
They leave that trailer set or someone gets hurt,
being on our.
could,
property.
I don't know, but you know how that goes.
There's different options to look in, and when we talk about having storage to hold on to some cardboard, and if we held on to it for 3 months and it going up, having a building, that would go back to purchasing some land there. There are so many things, it's looking at what's the better direction to go for, towards, that's a long-term goal to look at.
Question is what your cost is to build a building versus what your new
Would come out of
revenue
it.
return
Right.
would be, and whether it makes.
Right.
And I feel like with loans and grants that help you do those buildings, I think that first is sitting down and realistically looking at what our long-term goal is for,
It's better.
we have to realize that it's not just us in Perry County. We have a responsibility to the state and we have a responsibility to the federal government because they are guidelines for us to
Mhm.
hold to our goals. Where we have to be as part of our community, our state, and to the federal government, what they want, their goals are for a certain time. So those should be our long-term goals, to be in compliance
Yeah, that
with
could
what.
be in your 2-year plan.
Right. So those are things I'd like to look at and see, because there's loans and grants to do that, because they want to help the communities get to that long-term goal. That is where we come into play. With that being said, I hope everyone had a wonderful Christmas and we have a happy new year. And other than that, that we talked about the stamp approval.
I was wanting to ask you, didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, you're fine.
Are you going to try to advertise after the first of the year for a board? Because I've had some people approach me that want to apply for the advisory board, but I don't know where to send them. Because nothing's been advertised.
We can put it in the paper and you can send them, they need to apply by email,
Okay,
requesting to be on it. I'll send you an email with an official with our email
Okay.
on it. That way they've
That'd be
got our
fine.
email.
I know, because a couple of people have asked me and I said, well, I really don't know yet what's going to go on there. There's no one there's no board right now, correct?
So it'll be starting fresh. And I think that having a long-term goal is something that I feel like the board should also, meaning you, the board, should decide on what the goal should be and some responsibilities of them. Meaning, do we look at a goal, a 5-year goal, 2-year goal or something? Let's see. So the stamps. I do not know how many we'll end up needing. Because right now I feel like the complete answer of what all we're doing has not been decided on, and I don't know. They are postcard stamps that I would use. And I can, just that I go buy them and get them, and then I can tell you how much, or you'll see how much we pay. I just need the approval to do that.
Chris, have you went before your council?
It's on their January 2nd meeting for consideration.
Okay, so let's back up here a minute. We were on approval of, we're on the director's report and we need to get that. Okay, so I'll entertain a motion for accept the director's report, number 5.
I'll make that motion.
Gary, make the motion.
I'll
Need a second? Rebecca, second it. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any noes? Be 6-0. Approved for the director's report. Now we'll move on to number 6, which is old business, and now you can just talk about your stamps.
Okay. So the stamps being for a postcard, we can use them. I believe 2 of them makes a regular stamp. You put up, that's someone told me. If we don't use them all as a posted stamp, so I believe I can still use them.
So that's on your agenda for January the 2nd?
On the council agenda.
So you haven't not assigned on to this new
Interlocal agreement.
interlocal agreement, Chris?
They have not.
Okay, so they haven't had a chance to vote on it because of not having the meeting?
They didn't have it for the meeting because we had questions to get answered and they've got questions.
Didn't have it on the agenda?
No.
Okay,
Randy, I would encourage you if you can make it to our meeting on the 2nd in case they have questions. I know you kind of wrote the interlocal agreement. It might be a good idea to be there in case they have questions to get that passed if you want. You most certainly don't have to, but it may
What time's the
speak.
meeting? I don't know whether we have a conflict.
It's a council meeting, so it will be at 6 o'clock.
I think we have a commission, or a council meeting at 6
Oh.
or 5.
Ours will be on Tuesday because of the holiday,
Yes.
on Monday, but typically.
We have one
a commission
Tuesday.
meeting in the morning.
Yeah.
Yeah, ours is in the morning Tuesday.
So I'm not sure what the council.
Sorry, I can't hear you. That's
I mean,
loud.
I'll come to it if I'm not tied up somewhere else.
I would advise it. I think it would help in case, I'm sure they have questions. They've all gotten a copy with the exception to the new ones, and I just thought of that, so I will email that to them tonight so they can look at it over the weekend. And I will encourage them to reach out to you if you have any questions prior to the meeting or at the meeting if you're there,
And
whichever,
that's at what time?
6 PM on Monday.
okay, so,
Board of Works is at 5,
It's
which,
not Monday, it's Tuesday.
or Tuesday, yeah. It's normally Monday, but the holiday,
Yep.
my brain is programmed to do it that way, but
What are your feelings on it?
I still have a few questions that keep coming up, other ones I keep thinking of, but I'd like to, it's not my decision, it's the council's vote, so whatever they say, I'll go with. I mean, I'm not gonna get in the way of their decisions. If it's gotta be put in the edit plan and they so choose to do it, I'll amend my edit plan to reflect that then, so it keeps us in check with state board of
all
accounts.
right, so let's wait. Okay, now, are you done with your stamp deal?
Yeah.
All right,
Well,
so
Troy hasn't
Well,
considered it yet
let me
either.
say-
let's take this one step at a time here, so that everybody can be on the same page here.
If it all passes, I won't need any, except for my regular stamps that I vote, so.
But
that all-
in the meantime, between now and then, you still have mailings to put out?
I might, it just depends.
She's saying the mailings of the $45 bills will have to go out.
Right,
And that's
so
what she's
she'll have to get
anticipating.
stamps in anticipation.
Yeah,
I don't know exactly
need
when
to
the
get this
drop
done as
dead
soon as
date
possible
is.
for
She
her
need to get a bought.
consideration.
I mean, is
respect
there a
for her.
postage increase coming?
Well, yeah, but I believe I can hit it okay if we know by mid-January.
Okay.
Because our next meeting being the end of January.
So you'll still have time to get stamps out, get mailings out
Right, now we have,
immediately after that.
And printing, if someone needs to have a card printed, you can still do that, okay, timely.
we are anticipating some very long days in January and lots of deliveries.
If you need to
I mean,
mail
And
out.
that's okay. It's just, we're trying to, so if anything we see that
Mm-hmm.
could happen, so we're prepared. So as long as we know, and because we usually mail them out very end of January. That's a lot of printing, a lot of doing, and we will get it done. We just are trying to anticipate, so that's why I want to know that, I'm letting you know I might have to buy stamps.
January 21st is what it says.
January 21st, so if by January 20th, I know what's gonna happen, and I know if I have to buy stamps, I can get them before the price goes up.
So you already have commitments from Troy and the county?
No.
And, no,
Troy
Troy has not signed this.
they
That
haven't
was,
yet? Okay.
that was a comment made and they have not, I've talked to Linda twice and she said that statement is false,
Okay,
period.
so
Their next
who have you
meeting-
got signed on?
All that I know is that Hamilton said they would, but and that's.
And the county.
And
And the
the county
county.
said they would.
Hamilton and the county is all right now.
Two
So that right there is enough to, for some savings on the stamps,
Correct,
period.
right,
You can
that's why I
already-
say I don't know how many.
You can already calculate that.
Right.
And Ralph, in order to not make everybody have to do this or not and try to, all or none type thing, what I would like the board to do is recognize any entity governmental wise would get a 20% deduction if they pay the entire bill for their group. And that would be Cannleton, that would be the county currently as it is. So in other words, we would owe $36 per person, and we'd write the check. They wouldn't have to have a stamp. They wouldn't have to have the cards. They wouldn't have to chase them through courts or collect the money or anything. It would just come directly from government.
Okay,
And with that, we would offset that cost.
All right,
And that way, if we, as the county level, chose to do it, you as Cannleton chose to do it, then we direct the money through the edit plan to them. If Tell City and Troy chose to continue with the $45 charge, they too could do that. And it wouldn't be either or, so both entities could do what they felt was right. for the
so
citizens.
the entities that's already signed on will get a 20%
20%
If
discount.
we're paying
immediately,
directly without the need of
without the need of going back to their councils to approving that.
We just, because we're already signed on to we're committed to it. This way, we would get a discount and we would just pay it
Mhm.
directly to the solid waste. Would bypass the stamps, the printing, collection, everything associated with it.
Okay, so I understand that. So we don't gotta go back for another approval for the 20% if we've already
We've
signed on.
already done it.
Okay,
And basically, 20%, about what we were doing when we were using a $300,000 number.
okay.
It's about what we're doing because we're leaving the administrative cost and postage and printing all
And I
taken away.
also want to tell you what I said in cases, depending what happened, I contacted PayGov. On the page that we have with Perry County government page that we do have, we are going to have a link on there that they can pay that, set up, ready to go in case this does not go through. I have already contacted them so that there won't be a problem because people were going on there in the past and paying other bills, or we were getting other bills paid to us from that.
Mhm.
So I have backup plan in case this does not. People can go through the link on the Perry County Gov page, hit the link on there to pay Gov, pay us directly. That is set up
I
and
think
ready.
it's done, but there's a fee associated.
Yes, there is a 3% fee, but people call our office all the time, or they'll go on to the Perry County Gov page and hit pay bill, and they pay the wrong department.
Mhm.
So I have a link set up and ready to go that they can put on our page, just as a backup for if this does not pan out.
Or
Even with a lot of
For
places,
the
right?
$45? Is that what you're saying? For
Yeah.
2024?
Yeah, in case this did not go through.
Okay,
I'm just
I got
letting you
you.
guys know, I have not posted it on there, but I have that link ready to
You'll
go.
you'll wait till the 8th, is that correct? Is that what you said the date was, Wes?
21st.
21st, so you'll wait till then to post that?
Well, I'm waiting. If no one has to pay it, then it won't be on that page. But
Mhm.
if this
But it-
falls through,
It
I
might
have a
be
backup.
partial, Ralph. Let's say, for instance, the other two entities don't want to go with the paying it out of the other funds and two of them want to, then she'll still have to collect the money
Right,
from half of it or whatever it amounts. to.
correct. So I have this set up waiting in the back. I come prepared.
Way to go.
So,
So that's part of your job, and thank you.
well, I'm
So
just letting
Way
you
to
guys
keep-
know that
way to
that is
keep
set
up.
up so
Now-
that they can go on our Perry County government page, go to our website. And on that website, we'll have the link for them to pay the bill on that. So they do not go to anything else, and that will be in the newspaper and everything. And the instructions on our website, how to pay it. So there's no mistake. No one is gonna pay someone else. They're going to pay us, and it will be, yes, it's $1.50. So it makes it
So-
$46.50 for them to pay it. That way, because we are, short-staffed at times.
So in the future, on 2024, you will take advantage of that website, upgrading it
If needed.
if needed be.
So just know that if that,
Make people aware of what's going on and when, and
and you guys know that, so you can also tell people, go to our website on the perrycounty.gov page. There is a link, link on that page that will take you directly to our account, and you will pay it, and you're done. and they will get a confirmation number, just like when they call our office, they get a payment confirmation number from us. Then it goes to us, we get a statement, an email every day of who's paid online through PayGov.
Is that page also capable of putting on there your site about the cost of bringing batteries or whatever you there,
I have
anything
posted
like that?
I sent that to.
Can it be
well, they've
moved
done
over
it.
to that link, is what I'm saying, a link
Well, not the
there?
link with PayGov,
available.
but yeah, on that page, yeah, we've got that stuff. on there.
It's already there.
I've sent that to the
Thank you.
auditor's office. Yes, sir.
Good.
That's been done.
So I'd like to make a motion to have the solid waste group accept a 20% discount if government entities are paying their full portion and the collection is no longer required from the individual citizens in our businesses. So.
Say that again
Yeah,
slower.
I know. I'd like to make a motion that the solid waste board will accept a payment less 20% if they choose to pay for their residents within their district. Is that what we want to say?
Yes,
In lieu of the need to mail, stamp, collect, the normal procedure that's happened in the past. So in essence,
so it won't
we'd look
cost
at
you
$36
that much.
versus $45, and we'd write them a check monthly as our funds come in from the state,
Mhm.
and just pay for it.
So you got that motion down, basically? You got it, it's on recording.
The word for word, so I mean, I probably said it twice.
Yeah, thank you for repeating.
The basic concept is if we're gonna pay the entire bill, the county will pay a substantial amount of it, that we would not be paying for the need for the stamps, the postage, the collection, or any of these fees, administrative fees, just like she spoke of getting the PayGov, she has to go and post it to the accountant, that stuff would all be gone.
So you're saying that's a 20% savings for the
That
solid
should be a
waste?
savings that they
For
would
the-
recognize, and then
Mhm.
with that, we would just pay it directly to the solid waste.
Okay, so I have a motion on the floor, number one motion, entertain a second.
I make a motion.
Okay, before we vote, I have
Hold
a question.
on, discussion.
Thank you. So in Tell City's case, it was 101,000, I think. We'd be paying 80,000.
Actually, we're talking about the people that's already signed on right now to save the stamps. If you don't get that, if she has to order stamps for Tell City,
I don't care about the stamps, Ralph. I'm
Okay.
talking about the 20% discount if
Okay,
the governor
here's
sign
here's
on.
the 20%. You're still gonna pay the 101,
Okay,
because I lowered what they normally collect is 370,000 approximately.
right,
Okay, so what we were proposing is paying them 300,000.
okay,
And taking that, in essence, $70,000 we take away from their cost of having an administrator, the postage, the printing, everything associated with chasing the fees. So we reduced it to 300,000, and that's where it was sliced up, where everybody got their portion to pay.
Mhm.
In the event, not all four entities sign on, in effect, we don't want to have one outlier that says they don't want to participate, and the other three to not be able to participate. So my intent is to say, okay, let's take a 20% discount off of the 45, which is a little, it would actually create a little more money than the 300,000. But that allows every entity to independently make that decision for whether it's the city, the county, or whoever. And then they can move forward and pay those fees. If one of the other entities chooses not to participate and wants to have the residents continue to pay the fee, they can do that also. But their residents would pay the $45 because Chris will be required to send them a card, postage, collect it, keep the bills and everything associated with it. So she will not be able to eliminate that from, it won't be as
That
extensive,
group.
but she'll still have to do it.
so Tell City will still be able to take the 20% if you decide to sign
If it's
on.
voted in Tell City.
Or if everybody goes on board, so we can use the numbers that we originally generated.
Okay,
That's with 100% participation.
It'll all be,
Or if it's selective participation, take 20% off the $45 and then pay that, and then everybody can do their own thing.
be 36.
And this would be a yearly thing every year, wouldn't it, Randy?
Absolutely.
Okay, just, I might have missed this since I haven't been in the last few meetings, but what if down the road we need to increase the funding? Did we do that every 3 years when the edit plan comes up?
In the edit plan that I'm working on right now, we're gonna build in a special projects money. And what my hope is that you and Rebecca go along with this here, that we start making these decisions on our tax dollars rather than just kind of slicing and dicing, and then the others that receive it make the determination. As an example, Steve came in and he potentially could get some more Crossroads money. A special project would be funding to make that match so we can do that. But rather than take that money and hand it out at the first of the year, my proposal is putting it in a special project, and as these things pop up, come along, we actually have funding where we can say, yes, we'll go along with that project and we'll fund it because we have these resources. set
It'll also
back
work
to allow
on
us to
matching
do
grants also.
It's several different, it just gives us some ability to participate in some of these things that I think can be beneficial.
Randy, you keep mentioning, this is the second time I've heard you mention, not tonight, but that you're working on the edit plan. How close are you to completing it?
The plan has to be completed by Andrew Foster, but I've got the numbers together and I was gonna send them out today and I didn't. Just a rough draft so they can look at it, but it's nearly done. So
So
they need to look at how it's sliced and diced, see if they're comfortable with it.
while we're further discussing this 20%, do you want to go and vote on that 20% fee? Then
No, hang on a minute. You have a discussion on the floor and there was questions brought in that pertaining to the discussion. And then I need to ask you, are you satisfied with the discussion?
I understand it now, yes.
Okay. All right. So moving on, then we need to go from the discussion again back to the original motion. We had a first and we had a second.
No, we had a first.
We had a first and you was getting ready to, and we
No,
stopped.
I made the first.
You made the first. Randy, what did you put in? I thought you
Randy made the first.
I thought so too.
Depending on how she writes it up, I don't care.
Yeah. And then you was getting ready to make a second and he had a discussion.
Oh, okay.
So right now, I'm asking, at this point, this discussion is over. Do we go back to the second? Are you good on the second?
Yeah.
Okay, so all in favor? Are you good?
Yeah.
All in favor on the motion of the 20% made by Randy Cole and seconded by Rebecca? Say aye.
Aye. 6-0.
6-0.
While this stamp thing, now we're still on the stamp thing, but you just made the motion on the discount. But
Yeah, we're back to open.
has the issues with the State Board of Accounts been addressed regarding the interlocal agreement?
Yes, it has. You
Is
should
there-
have got an email from them.
I did, and the email that I got from them that talks about the payment of it, it says, during an audit, we'll be looking for the county's facilities purpose behind this payment of the solid waste management district. Would this either be fees for services or possibly a grant to the solid waste district? Any grants will require documentation of the agreement that these funds would be spent in accordance to the agreement. And it spells out that the grants are loans to pump monies to the district and established procedures. I'm just concerned in that agreement, do we have that in there, worded that way yet?
It's not a grant.
It's not a
I mean,
grant,
It's basically a fee for service is what it is.
okay?
And if anyone wants to bring up the fact we're using economic development, and I hear this multiple times, instead of coming to Perry County, I'll just go to Spencer County where the taxes are cheaper and the fees are less. And as we lower the cost of living in Perry County, hopefully it spurs some additional growth and makes us a little more desirable.
Sure, I would
And,
agree.
So that's where just applying taxes towards that.
I was just concerned with the State Board of Accounts. I know that both the county's entity and the city's entities have went back and forth and had, I feel, positive and good discussions. I just want to make sure it's done right and we don't get written up or get in trouble. I'd hate that for the county or the city.
We can easily do that. The first time we do it, we'll just have the State Board of Account approve what we did. But they came back because initially I talked to Baker Tilly.
Yep.
And they said we could do it. And then as I reached back, after I had a discussion with you, I reached back out to State Board of Accounts, and that's where they said, we can do it after we divide it and send it to them, but we just need to recognize that revenue was placed in the solid waste by every participating entity. Just so that when audit time comes, there is a record that you received the funds and then reapplied them to the solid waste district. So, and I would make sure and have them involved with it to make sure
So
that.
on
the
it, will you
first time-
guys have to re-amend your interlocal agreement to reflect that, you think?
I don't think so. I think it's-
So the main question here on my part is to a tax entity versus a non-taxable entity, like the collection from trash or collection for recycling. That's what a question I would have to, I guess, the State Board of Accounts. So you guys did that, or? is
Yeah,
there-
I mean, the State Board of Accounts, I've kept them kind of in the loop with what we're doing, so.
Nothing will change,
I,
except they just don't pay the bill.
And that's the first thing, the first time you run this through the process, I think they need to be actively involved to make sure we're not creating an audit issue.
Well, that's my
Please.
concern.
And I don't, you know.
Well, it wouldn't be
that's
for you, it'd be
Oh,
for, you
right,
get your
yeah.
check, you're good, it's on our end. It would-
Well, I think
But
for
it's
all
scary.
entities, we just don't want to create something that becomes the audit issue in the future that pops up, so. And I think they've been very good to work with, so
They have.
I don't perceive that as a problem. They
So
just keep
Chris,
them informed.
Chris, I'll ask you this because you brought up that email. Is that identity for tax identity versus non-taxable?
What?
Is that spelled out in that?
I don't think it talks about that,
Okay.
that in there, no.
Okay. I'm done with my question then.
Okay. I was just curious, because that was just a concern of mine on the interlocal agreement. Initially, they didn't like that one, there was a paragraph they didn't like, and then they kind of like, well, maybe we are okay with it, and, well, you know, I just want black and white answers that's, we don't get in trouble, that's all. I don't want the county to have any issues, I don't want the cities or towns, it's the way we should do it.
And I don't want any.
Well, you won't have the problems, you'll get your check, it'll be on our end.
Well, but I don't want there to be problems
No.
and there be
I
a
agree.
problem to where we have to sit up here and hash this out.
Yeah.
I don't want change to be more of a problem. That's all.
You will be cutting, if Tell City doesn't sign on, for example, you will be cutting your stamps and more, but you'll still be doing the same thing that you have been.
Right. I'm just trying to be prepared
On-
for anything that happens.
Mhm.
That's where I'm at right now.
I got a question, Chris. Let's say, for instance, some entities are in, some are out. How long does it take you to generate a list of addresses? I mean, clearly, if someone lives in Clark Township, Union Township, Leopold, we don't worry about those. Those are county residents. But a lot of, Randy and I were just discussing this before the meeting. Tell City extends clear to his house. Well, he's quite a distance from the border of Tell City.
And that
Same
would-
with Candleton, so we'd have to do
Yeah,
that.
Candleton goes all the way to
slicing and
Derby.
Make sure we're,
Right, so
Whatever.
from my understanding, the people in Hamilton, they use the people that are in town that use their utilities.
Yeah.
The people that are in the county would pay. I need to look at who you guys are going to bill. This is where Lao would come in, my access to Lao.
Mhm.
So this is my question to the board that, so if I can come up with my own motion, would need access to Lao.
Mhm.
we can get that to you. That's
Yeah,
not a problem.
Because, and so that isn't my thing. With access to Lao, that will speed up because
Okay.
we know how bad the,
Your system is.
Yeah, see, I see
I
what you're
don't-
saying, because I live in Thomas
We
Point and I
we
have a
can
county
get that, we can
address.
get that
Yes.
done.
I don't know
Because
what,
of the zip code.
I don't know what that
Yeah, 475.
produces
goes out.
for utilities as far as
Yeah.
electric.
It goes far.
Yeah, but those people are
For his electric.
out there. Or,
Right.
Far as electric or water, but Candleton is complicated.
right. And that's why Lao will I can with Lao being the county, and I can access who lives where, who doesn't. I will need to make sure I'm looking at it correctly, which would mean, talking to Chris or whatever. But that access to Lao will show me who's being billed county. It will show me who's being billed in Camden and stuff, and I can pin it down.
Well, our water bills, we have water bills go out to the county residents right there right there close to us, but yet, we don't have electric. The county go.
And I will just need your list of who you're billing
Chris, here's what's gonna happen. We're all gonna get on board and we're not gonna have to worry about
That's right.
it. How's that?
That's
We
good.
can take change and.
We'll just have to deal
streamline.
with it when it
Right.
comes to see.
And I will tell people, if you get a bill and you're not sure, you call, we look,
Mhm.
and there's trial and error with everything. It's not gonna be perfect. You know, and if you have a question, you call, we're gonna look into it. But having the allow access, and thank you for agreeing that I need that, because that is going to.
It's not a problem.
Yeah, that shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah, so that's how this all started, having allow access, because that will speed up our process immensely.
Will Lao go into their 25, 30-year-old computers?
No. They won't,
No,
So
but
you-
going forward, I will, when it comes, I will know everybody will be there, and I can look at it, and we can tell who's on that borderline. Like, there's people in
Okay.
Tell City that are gonna be out in the county or whatever, and there's so much information now that would really
Oh, yeah.
help our department.
Lao's really, it's nice.
Okay, with the WOW, are we okay with making them entertain a motion for allow her to go into WOW?
I don't think this
I
board
don't
has
see
that
we
authority.
need-
Don't have to have.
We don't need
authority.
it.
This board don't has
motion to do
authority,
that.
that's a county that owns the
Yeah,
law, not this
okay.
board.
All right,
And,
we'll move on then.
and
I'm good with that. So new business,
I think we already
did
did
it.
everything.
Okay,
Mhm.
so moving on to public comments.
As a citizen, I just want to make a comment. I want
Okay.
to thank you, and I want to thank Gary Morton
Okay,
for your years of service on this board and all that you brought. We'll miss you guys. It was very appreciative, and I just want to thank you both.
thank you.
Thank
we
you,
didn't
Al.
hear, Chris, they're gonna sing at the end of the meeting.
Oh, no.
Yeah, he did
That's
before,
tomorrow.
he did that before I could, so I wanted to say the same as a
Well, we can-
Well, Ralph's
citizen.
gonna sing lead, and I'm just gonna sing harmony.
See what you think.
I wanted to, as a citizen, also say thank you, Mayor Ralph,
Thank you.
and thank you, Mr. Morton.
You're very welcome.
Gary's probably one of the longest
Yes.
serving members on this board.
Yes,
Yes.
Gary's been very helpful to us, and I will recommend this, that whoever the next, it'll be up to this committee, January 1, first meeting, to announce or get a new board member in, that they have some kind of experience, as Gary and I had, and make sure that they get the committees in place for the anything that goes on. So as far as the next, the group that's going to be coming in here also. So advisory board is important. Advisory board is important, so therefore they need leadership. And then allow at least 2 members to be at the advisory board meetings when it comes to making any kind of decisions, is what I would suggest. All right?
You gonna sing now?
No singing.
I don't know what
You
we
guys
can
don't
sing.
deserve that yet. So,
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Oh,
Thank you.
Next meeting.
oh, wait a minute, next meeting.
It's on there.
Well, I've got approval. I just put it in.
Okay,
January 25th.
January 25th, 2024 is the next meeting. Need a motion to accept that.
4 PM.
I'll make that motion.
4 p.m.
4 p.m.
Okay, so
Where's the sheet we signed?
Chris Kale made the motion to make that meeting. I need a second.
I'll second.
And Rebecca,
Whatever.
all I say,
Aye.
6-0.
Make a motion to adjourn now.
Randy made a motion to adjourn, and you second.
Gary, why don't you end it? You're like-
Hey, you second?
Yeah.
I will second it, yes.
Okay,
Mayor,
yes.
I'm concerned, I always report to our council meeting the cardboard prices.
I
I'm
know.
gonna carry on that.
I'll do my best for the next council meeting.
Sitting by, on the phone, wanting to know,
When you know it's time to sell or not, right?
well, let them know.
I laughed out loud, so I covered my mouth at that meeting when you said that.
Gary, how are you going to work? All in favor?
All in favor, say aye. 6-0. Meeting's adjourned. Thank you.
Okay, it's gotta go down this way. Here you go. Oops.
Thanks a lot, Wes.
I'm gonna steal your pen.
Thank you, sir.
I just don't understand.
You guys sign this one real quick?
I don't know if I sent it down here or not.
Thank you for everything.
No,
Did you stop the recording, Ralph?
Oh, no. Yeah, what we do
I've
that?
been kind of really sick and thin, haven't I?
It's gone now.
You sure? Still something on that screen?
Sure have.
Now you are. I don't even know what I'm about to see.